I have stopped watching cable news, and I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to tell you what happened yesterday on an airplane that reinforced my conviction that this is the right decision. And I believe you should stop watching cable news as well. And I'm going to tell you why. Yesterday, I was in Florida and Florida over the last week, different parts, as you know, of that state. And on my way home, I was mostly trying to keep my daughter calm, which didn't go well. Didn't go well. But I was also observing the televisions of people seated in front of me. And so I could see into the seat in front of me, and there was a woman watching Fox News the entire flight. And then one row ahead on the left side, there was someone watching CNN. And then in front of there was someone watching MSNBC. And what I saw, I wasn't hearing any of it, but I was seeing the chyrons and the headlines and the stories reinforced that it is a waste of time to watch cable news. So first, let me just give you some of the headlines I saw on Fox News. 40% of California revenue coming from top earners. Big scare story. Oh my God, California, look at what they're doing. The reality is that by top earners, they mean the top 1%. And it's not particularly unique that in California, 40% of the tax dollars come from the top 1%. California has a ton of super rich people, and California has a progressive tax rate, and it's quite high. I believe it's 13% for the top earners. And so it makes sense that in a state filled with super wealthy people and a 13% top tax rate, you would get a disproportionate share of your tax revenue from the richest 1%. That's the way the system is designed. And while it might not be exactly 40%, if you look at other states, you will find that numbers are very similar. So just a meaningless story, scare story on Fox News. 40% of California revenue from the top earners. Yeah, pretty normal. Second headline I saw on Fox News over this other passenger's shoulder. Electric vehicle sales slowing. Red alert. This is a scare story about how crappy electric vehicles are and about how nobody wants them. Now, the problem with this story is vehicle sales are slowing. Non-electric vehicle sales are slowing, and electric vehicle sales are slowing. It's not really particularly concerning for electric vehicles because new vehicle purchases demand is slowing overall. They didn't tell you that on Fox News. Third headline I saw yesterday. Electric vehicle depreciation higher than gas-powered vehicles. There's a really good explanation as to why that is. EV technology is advancing so quickly that it is rapidly making older electric vehicles obsolete. You buy a car 2 years ago with a 200-mile range. And at the time, that's maybe middle upper range for electric vehicles. Now, with so many electric vehicles over 300-mile range, over 350, some are over 400. I think next year some are coming over 500. Of course, that is going to push down the value of the electric vehicle with a 200-mile range. This is because the technology is advancing so quickly. Now, it's a real issue. And this is why I've made the decision that for the time being, I'm going to lease electric vehicles rather than buy. And I'm glad I did, because the value of my Tesla has declined dramatically since I leased it. And were I to be the owner, I would be very unhappy. So I'm just going to give it back when the lease is up, and that's it. But this is not a sign of trouble. This is a sign of how rapidly EV technology is advancing. And then fourth headline I saw on Fox News, stocks stay strong despite rate hike. Now, you might be wondering, what rate hike? It's been a while since there's been a rate hike. That's exactly right. It's been a while since the last hike. We've heard from the Fed, the hikes are done for now. We're expecting 2, 3, or 4 rate reductions in 2024. But Fox is still scaring people and blaming Biden's Fed and saying somehow stocks are still strong. So it is a waste of time to consume this 24-hour cable news stuff. And I don't care if it's Fox News or the others. Here's my view on this. I use clip services and people I follow who will kind of put together what are the most notable elements from cable news for analysis on this show, because I want to know generally what is going on, what's the conversation happening on cable news, and I want to understand how it impacts the political discourse because I do this show. The reality is that you aren't going to miss major stories if you aren't regularly consuming cable news. Cable news is designed, because it's 24 hours a day, to just keep generating content, whether the content is newsworthy or not. And when there's less newsworthy content, they might recycle 4 hours of news over a 24-hour period. I believe that we need to be super conscientious and deliberate about media consumption, and I have stopped consuming cable news altogether. The way I consume media is I determine what do I want to watch or listen to, and when do I want to do it. I have 8 or 10 podcasts that I more or less keep up with, and I go to the gym 3 or 4 times a week. That's when I listen to them. I try to go for a hike once or twice a week. That's when I listen to them, and sometimes when driving around doing errands. That's it. And the way people get sucked in, and I know that there are people who watch cable news all day. The way people get sucked in is, absent something else to do, it's like, I guess I'll turn it on. Let's see if there's anything. And lo and behold, they have 24 hours to fill. So of course there is. You're not going to miss major stories by not consuming cable news. And my suggestion, and I know that David, you do a news show, you're telling people not to consume news. What I'm saying is, pick some podcasts specifically, pick some shows, even if you like specific shows from cable news. Maybe you catch up with the highlights at a certain timer. Maybe you watch one particular show. The random, I guess I'll just turn it on and kind of see what there is thing is exactly what it's designed for. And I think it's a useless time sink. That's my view. At my own peril, that's what I say to folks. Let me know your thoughts. We're going to take a quick break. The last show of the year, right? I think tomorrow weekend, and then we're off on the 1st. Yeah, the last show of the year is today. So glad you're with us.